All right. So now we get to paint them. So I'm gonna watercolor these because I think watercolor is gonna look the best. And I've been practicing a lot with watercolor lately, and I think I can make some like designs in the water and stuff that'll make it look really cool, to look like actual water. Well, you know, not realistic water, but to give us the good essence of water. So I think what we'll do is we will take turns like coloring each color. Like for example, anything that needs to be yellow, I'll do all the yellow on this, and then I'll move on to the next one, and so on and so forth. That way they have chances to dry. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and use my Teo tree for this. Those are my watercolors. So I'm gonna move my water over here. The Teo tree's there, and I just need my color references so I can see what the colors are. Okay. So I'm gonna start out with, I got some new pencils. I still don't have a number 6, but I got a number 7, so it's close enough. And I'm gonna zoom in quite a bit so that we can actually see the card. There we go. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do everything that should be yellow first. And there's gonna be quite a bit of switching back and forth between cards. So I would not be surprised about that. All right, I'm trying to figure out the best place to kind of put everything. So I don't want to get water on these cards either. So let's go ahead and start with this yellow. Okay, so this brush holds a lot. This is an ISO Coach. Not heard of that one. I was trying to find something to be comparable to my Ohuhu paintbrushes, because like I said, I've been looking at the Ohuhu website and I just can't find any that are like that, and I really, really like these. All right, so we've got that, and then I'm going to switch to our next one. Trying to figure out the best setup. What could work better here? Because this setup is not working for me. Yeah, I could do this so that all the paint's on one side and the cards are on the other. I think that could work. Okay. We're gonna try it. All right, so I've got this one. I'm gonna move it out of the way. Bring up my next one. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned or not, but my liners that I'm using are actually my favorite brand. They're these Zig Millennium pens. These are awesome. Like, yeah, they're a little bit more expensive, but I've never had any problems with them moving with water. And I abuse and use and abuse them. Do not use them over acrylic paint. You will ruin them, but you can use them as liners and they're fine. Like, out of all the years, and I've been using them since I was a teenager, I just keep ordering them over and over again. I've never had a problem with them. They're awesome. Okay. the worst when it comes to that, I swear. I think I'm gonna make the moon yellow on this one too, just for fun. I'm trying to go lightly because I know that watercolors do dry lighter than what they look whenever you put the colors down. I'd rather go too light at first than too dark. So I'm just trying to be conscientious of that. This is just regular yellow that I'm using in my Teo tree. Okay, now while that's drying, I want to go ahead and start on something that's not next to it. So what I might do is I might go ahead and maybe do these rocks, because these rocks aren't anywhere near that, so that could be good, or we could do the sky. Let's do the rocks. The rocks should be pretty good. So for the rocks, let's do some yellow olive, just because it's kind of a tan color, and then we can kind of mess with the shading with other colors. So I'm gonna go move on to my tan yellow. Let's see, where is that in my color palette? That is right next to amber. And even though it's called olive yellow, it's really more of a khaki-ish color to me. So I think that'll be just fine for a rock. You can see some yellow tones in it for sure, but it's not like overly yellow, so I don't think it'll look weird or anything like that. Okay. And then we can also probably use the same tone down here for first. just going to want to be careful that we don't accidentally touch our yellow with that. There we go. And I think that would be a good starting color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring over ones that have that weird rockiness to it. And we'll just go ahead and fill it in with that color. And then we can go back with some lighter browns and play as we go. Hopefully by the time we get done with that, we can kind of check on our yellows to see if anything is dry or if we can add a different layer somewhere else. So I want to be really careful not to bleed things that are not supposed to be that color. But I want each of these to be special, because, you know, we're making them because we like them, and it's fun. So it just kind of gives us a little bit of a wash. Okay. So here. So this yellow one is dry, or at least fairly dry, but that yellow is not deep enough for me. So I'm gonna go in there and add some more yellow. I'm gonna add some bright yellow to this yellow and see what happens. Maybe we can liven it up a little bit. I don't want it to be too watery. Let's see. Yeah, that might be a little bit better of a tone, so I'm going to try that with this. We'll leave the moon pale, so we want our creature to stand out better, our Pokemon. Like, the Pokemon's the focal point, not the moon, so I don't really care about that. It also looks pretty close to drying, so I'm just going to add some more of that, like, bright yellow to it. See if we can help out that color a little bit. There we go. Okay. So while we've got this one out, let's see what else is going on here. Let's do, so the spines on here are supposed to be like a dark blue. So let's do navy for that. I think navy would look good. So I'm just gonna mix navy real quick. Second. Just trying to get used to this brush because it's the first time I've used this brush and it's holding quite a bit of water, which is great. I'm just trying not to overdo it. I think that looks pretty good. So we'll grab our next one. Do the same thing with the navy blue. Hey, good girl, what you doing? My doggy Rowena is joining us. She's like, hello. You can probably hear her little click clicks from her toenails. Okay. So that looks pretty good. I'm gonna grab the next one. Scooch this one over. We'll just keep going in a circle with them. Oops, sorry, I'm having a hard time sliding them without moving the water. There we go. All right, then we got this one. Okay, like that. I've got this one. Just trying to go really, really light so I don't accidentally get out of the lines. So it's a pretty small detail. Okay. So that looks good. So we'll move on to our next one. Scooch that over there. I've got this one. That one's very small. We'll say that one's a baby. And we've got this one. Okay. So we've got all of that in there. And we're just gonna wait a minute to let them dry, probably. Or I guess I can move on to one of these ones that has a background to it and start working on that. Let's do that. So let's actually look at this one. So this does have a background. We could do the green for the grass. Could be good. We could do the red for the flower. We could do the background. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out what's not gonna bleed the most. Let's go ahead and do the grass on this one. So for that we need a green, and let's go with, I kind of like apple green. Let's go with apple green. So apple green is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's a pretty grassy green. I like that. Okay. Just mixing it on my water plate here. Give me 1 second. Go with this lighter color first, and then we can always add other colors to it. Got Pink Pony Club stuck in my head by Chaperone. I enjoy her voice. She kind of like, I feel like she's like a mixture of like, I guess she would be this generation's Madonna or Lady Gaga in a way. But she's got such a vintagey voice. I like her voice a lot. Gotta be careful, I don't want that green to accidentally go into that yellow. That would be bad. And then while it's still wet, what I might do is I might add some flat green to it too, just because some flat green might add something like some depth or something to it. So let's do that. Get some of that. It just might mix pretty, really. Yeah, I think that will look pretty good. Just kind of gives a little something extra. It's kind of interesting. This paint is new, but I've noticed that certain colors are a little gritty. I don't mind the grittiness. It's just kind of interesting. Like, look at that. That's just mixed with water, and it's kind of gritty. Okay. Make sure I get all the white. Okay. Move on to another one that has grass or anything green in it. This one's looking like it has grass and green in it. Plus we'll eventually go back over these browns too. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add the grass to this one. So I'm going to start again with the apple green. That. Add some more water. Add some apple. And honestly, that was already mixing with that green from earlier, so we're just going to add some more to that. So I liked what that was doing. So this has a mixture of the apple green and flat green together. Just like that. Oh, doesn't want to move. All right. We can do this one next. I hope these turn out super cute. Like, that was kind of the best thing about Pokemon as a kid, is everything was adorable. Remember when I was in 4th and 5th grade, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, took over my school. People were learning trades and all kinds of stuff. I remember one time I traded my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Card, and it was only my favorite because it was holographic. And it was the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Card I ever had, probably. And some boy traded me a card that he thought was cooler, and I started crying because I wanted my card back. And the teacher was like, well, a trade's a trade, man. Can't blame him there. Good lesson learned that day. If you really like something, don't trade it. And then for the longest time, I had a whole bunch of holographic Pokemon cards that were in Japanese. They were in a big red book. Well, it wasn't big. It was, I don't know. It was a little card holder journal. And somebody stole it after a house party once. I was so sad because, like, I had, you know, collected those my entire life. And here somebody took it. Oh well. At least the party was fun, I guess. Somebody probably ended up with a whole bunch of money, because nowadays those cards are kind of worth something. Like, I know a while back in COVID, people were trading their Pokemon cards like crazy and were making a bunch of money on the holographic ones. So maybe my cards are out there somewhere, but oh well. I kind of cheated to get them anyway. Somebody donated them to my grandma's thrift store. And even though I had been, like I said, collecting my whole life, I certainly didn't have that many holographic cards my whole life, so maybe somebody just needed them more than I did. But I did add quite a few of mine in there. Yeah, it's weird, that kind of almost looks like whenever you put salt in watercolors, what it's doing. Like, I wonder if it's just because these are cheap watercolors. Because I will say, for the 168 colors, they were only $19. So can't be mad at $19. My Paul Rubens do not do this, though. So that's why I wonder if it's just because of the quality. Like, maybe the pigment doesn't mix all the way. Could be. I do not know. A little bit darker. Oops. That's okay. It'll look fine. Alright, so that looks pretty good. And then we can probably start adding. Oh, there's another darker blue towards on the head. It's not as dark as this blue was, but we might go ahead and use that. Because I did not realize that the top part of the crown is supposed to be that dark blue. So let's try that real quick, because I've still got some mixed up here. And we'll just gently do that. No, I was worried about that. Okay, we don't want to do that yet. Gotcha. So we will wait on that color because it's too close to what we're already doing. And see, it was trying to go into that bush. So what we'll do is, let's slop some more of that green down. Go. Let's do these guys instead, and we'll still do that blue, but we just won't be next to that green on that other one real quick. Okay. Oh. Yeah, it's just a big bubble of blue. Okay. I was kind of hoping for a darker shade than that, though. Let's add some more navy here. So that is not the shade I was going for. Whoa. I think my brush is too wet is what's happening. So let's try that again. We're going to add some more pigment to our blue. And this time I'm just going to gently do it. Yeah, that's darker, like what I wanted. Okay. Like I said, still getting used to this brush because I haven't used this one before. I've been trying to use real watercolor brushes to practice instead of just my water brush ones, just because, you know, I want to learn how to properly use these things. So that looks pretty good. Let's see, so I'm going to move him over. Let's do this one next. Oh, need more navy. Remember, that looks super dark, but when it dries, it's going to be lighter, so it'll be all right. Sometimes I gotta re-say that to convince myself too, so it's okay.
Wait, what is that?
Oh. There we go. Something like that. Switch to our next one. At least the nice thing about switching back and forth like this is while one's drying, we can always work on another one, which is great. Instead of having to wait each time, you know. Goes like that. Move on to our next one. I'm a little out of line on that one, but I think it's okay. Okay, and now these should be a little bit more dry, so I should be able, yeah, I should be able to do this now. Right, just like that. Okay, and then let's see here. This one's still drying a little bit, so I don't want to put in the light blue just yet. So what we'll do is we'll do that sky up there, and we're just going to use what's left of this blue, because I think that'll look fine for the sky on this one. Just like that. Would pick on this one again. Let's do, I'm pretty sure the sky is going to be purple. Maybe we could do two types of purples here. We could do ultraviolet for the mountains. That would be nice. So just get some of that. I'm just mixing my paint. And we'll give it some pretty violet mountains. That looks pretty nice there. And I think that'll look really pretty whenever we put like a dark, deep purple in it too. Okay. And then still waiting on some bits to dry, but I think we can go ahead and do the blue on this one as well. I'm gonna save the water stuff for last on these, just because I'm a little worried about colors bleeding through. Of course, I could probably do the water on this one that was just on first real quick before I move on to that one. I'll give that just a little bit more time to dry. Let's do, because we don't want a blue that's going to be too close to what we're going to use. I think the blue that we're going to actually be using on those is maybe Macron blue. So that was my husband macaroning at me. So let's do maybe titanium blue would be pretty for this. Or indigo. Indigo might be nice. Let's go with indigo. Hello, darling. How are you?
Swell. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm just gonna mix up some of that real quick. Yeah, it's a really pretty color. We'll just give it a bit of a wash and then we can come back with some more pigment in a little bit. There we go. And so that should do all right for that. And then maybe while it's still drying, we can add another type of blue in there. Let's add some cyan in it. Or however you pronounce that word. We're gonna go with cyan. But it might not actually be pronounced that way. I have no idea. Cyan, cyan, whatever. There we go. That looks good. Just kind of gives it a little bit of play in there with those two colors. Okay. And then we will have to come back with brown and stuff, but we can do that after we get some more colors in here. Okay, so I'm gonna put that one to the side. I guess since we're already doing watery colors, we can go ahead and add water to this one. So let's do, we'll do the indigo again first. Getting that on my brush. I'm just going to give it a bit of a wash. And then I'm going to come back in with that cyan blue, cyan, what have you. I'm just going to lightly run some of that over and let it mix a bit. Let the colors be happy and playful. That. Okay. And then here's another one with water in it, so I'll do that to this one too. Indigo first. Being careful to just kind of go around my Vaporeon. So we don't want to accidentally turn her that color. We have a other plans for her. Okay, and now it's ready to have some of that pretty cyan in there. Mason, what do you think? Is it cyan or cyan?
That's a hard one.
The CYAN blue?
I call it cyan.
Yeah. That's what I kind of call it too. And it's weird because I honestly never knew that that word until we played Among Us. Because one of the colors of the characters that you can choose is cyan blue.
Cyan.
Definitely not cayenne. That would be funny. But maybe. Who knows?
Perhaps.
Somebody might pronounce it that way. We're all right, probably. It's probably going to be like GIF and GIF, where the guy's like, it's pronounced GIF.
It's GIF.
Or whichever. You know, it's been so long since that argument, I don't even remember which side. But, you know. And then have nobody pronounce it that way. And just like, or like, aha, Rihanna and Rihanna, because she calls herself Rihanna.
That is a hard one.
But everybody else calls her Rihanna, so she was just like, whatever.
Oh.
That would honestly like irritate the crap out of me. If like I had a whole last name and everybody was like, no, we're just gonna rename you.
A little testy. I beat Vader and I didn't get a medallion.
You don't get a medallion for Vader, you only get his lightsaber.
No, that's not.
Now, if you go up to where what's-her-face is, the silver stormtrooper, oh no, what's her name?
Silver.
No. My mind is on painting, not Star Wars right now, but if you go to where the silver one is on the map, she does have a medallion.
I will go and investigate this.
Okay, she's at the
Silver
very,
clips.
well, she's at the very top right-hand side of the map. Gosh, her name is blanking out on me. I
can totally see it.
I feel like a terrible Star Wars fan. You know who I'm talking about, right? The lady that played in
Silver lady.
she was also the lady that played in Game of Thrones
Oh.
with the blonde hair.
Brianna Tarth?
Yeah.
No. Is that her?
Uh-huh. It is indeed. I still think that was pretty cool that we all got that skin for free.
Very much.
My bad, folks. I went into Fortnite mode for a second.
Sorry, internet people.
Whoever's going to be watching this is like, what are they talking about?
What is this Fortnite you speak of?
Yeah, my husband is playing Fortnite, and my art room is not actually an art room at all. It's just an area of our basement, and I have it seated to where I can watch when my son and my husband play. That way I can still interact with them while I'm doing things. Yeah, so I just kind of have one half of the basement, and our game stations have the rest, because we collect video games. We're very nerdy people.
More cool like that.
We're very cool like that, yes. But yeah, so that I can hang out with them, they can hang out with me, and it's all a good thing. And all our video games live in happy harmony. Yeah, we have a pretty good collection though. We've got anything from Atari, Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, Dreamcast, all the oldies, Sega, you know. And then we also have our modern stuff like all the PlayStations and Xboxes and Nintendo Switches and all kinds of good stuff. Chances are, if there's a game that you really, really like, I probably have it somewhere. And when my husband and I started dating, it was really funny because we both happened to collect video games because we're both nerds. And so we just combined our collection into one big sexy lot. It's nice and pretty.
Because we're cool.
And then what happened? We had a sports kid. He likes video games too, but I'm making fun of him because my husband and I are not sports people, like, at all. And our son is very sporty and very competitive and likes stuff like that, so it's just kind of funny how that works out sometimes.
I'll have you know I was an extreme yo-yoer once upon a time.
An extreme yo-yoer? Oh my. Were you one of the people that used to do the,
Walk a dog.
I could walk a dog. I remember we had like a talent show, and there were some kids that were making an Eiffel Tower out of their yo-yos. I was like, how the heck are they doing that?
That's child's play.
Oh, did you know how to do that?
An Eiffel Tower person.
You were?
I was.
Is that for real life, or are you messing with me?
50-50.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if you're messing with me or not.
Well, someday, if we ever have a yo-yo, we can test it out.
Well, the Easter Bunny gave Ronan a yo-yo, but
It's not a yo-yo.
it broke already?
That was a sad yo.
A sad yo? It was a dollar store special? That darn Easter Bunny with his dollar specials. I think yo-yos were only really popular when we were in elementary school, though.
I guess you're not wrong now, you can show.
I don't remember anybody picking up a yo-yo in middle school. Probably would have gotten made fun of a little bit.
I was a cool kid, and when I was in science camp, there was a dude that was a hardcore yo-yoer.
Oh?
Yeah.
You got to go to science camp? That's not
Well,
fair.
I went to science camp. I don't think most people went to science camp.
That's cool.
It was kind of neat.
What did you do in science camp?
Science.
Well, duh. What kind of science?
That's what that.
Hey
I don't
man,
remember, to be honest.
you brought it up. I'm just curious. It sounds cool.
Hey, it was pretty fun.
Something I wanted to send Ronan to that I thought would be cool is there is a NASA camp
Oh.
somewhere in Kansas, I think.
That's pretty neat deal. If I remember, I've heard of it before.
Yeah, it's supposedly put on by actual NASA.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I think it would be a cool thing to do. I don't think they like spend the night or anything.
Stole my car.
Which, I mean, I wouldn't want them to spend the night somewhere else anyway, but it's just like a day camp thing.
Well, I approve.
Well, I am happy you approve.
Yeah, we did a lot of cool stuff. I'm trying to think what all we did.
I was always really sad. I always wanted to go to England because they had the Young Ambassador program, and they always sent us stuff in the mail every summer that I had been approved for that. But my parents and grandparents were always afraid of international travel, so I never got to go. But really, really wanted to. And then in high school, I almost got the chance to go again, but nobody could afford that band trip. So, yeah.
To be fair, it was pretty expensive even back in the day.
It was $5,000.
That is a lot of dollary dues for an average human.
That is true. Especially when you grow up very poor. But that's okay. Maybe someday as an adult I can go. It'd be a fun trip.
Hello, Mr. Grievous. Oops.
I might end up taking a break from this and finishing it tomorrow.
Oh no.
This is a lot of painting.
Are you having painter's block?
No, I'm having a lot of fun painting. It's just it's 9 something already.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's 9:12. So I just don't know if we'll be able to finish this tonight.
I did not realize it was so red.
Mm-hmm. I'd definitely like to finish it. It's just these are all like, it's funny, they're not super detailed, but they're just detailed enough to be a lot, I guess.
Much.
No, not much.
Okay.
Are you on the boss's island or something? Oh.
Should I do this in honor of our son?
Our son on Fortnite loves the boss's island. That's like his favorite thing ever. He's always like, can you go on the boss's island? Like there could be like 50 people there and he'll be like, please go for me. And so I'm usually like, okay, I'll die with honor for you. Because you're not going to survive once you go. Alright, I think I'm going to wrap up for the night and I will finish painting tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and pause again, and the next time you see me, it should be tomorrow. Alrighty, so it's the next day and I have a little bit more time. So one of the things that I thought would be kind of fun with these backgrounds, some of these water backgrounds, is to actually do like little water circles on them, which would be fun to kind of give them that, you know, more of a background so that they kind of go a little bit better with some of these that have more going on in their backgrounds. But I think I'm going to paint the main part of the Vaporeon first. And for that, I'm going to use the color Macaron Blue because they are a very light blue. So I'm hoping that the Macaron will look really good. So let's try and get some on my palette here. All right, here we go. And let's see. Oh yeah, that's going to be a really pretty color. Just gonna go over it a bit. So I think, because I wanted it to be a blue that wouldn't get lost in the sauce because there's so many blues. So I definitely think that this blue is the right decision. You know, I did get out of the lines a little bit, but that's kind of the fun of art. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I think these people are just going to be, like I said, happy to receive a Pokemon. And I can always go back over it with another coat if I need to. Like to deepen that up a bit. So I'm just going to go through and get that color in there. I've also still got to do something about the collar. Because the collar is white, but I was thinking of maybe adding like maybe like a tan to it, just to give it a little bit of dimension so it's not just like this weird flat thing. I was thinking that might look nice. Alright, so we got that. And then while we're waiting on that part to dry, what I can do is here in the circles, I'm going to put little bubbles so that it plays with that water a bit. And then I'm also going to draw little circles. And what'll happen is the watercolor will reactivate and it'll start doing a cool pattern. And that's what I want. And some of them will be fatter than others, which is totally fine. Some of them will be small, some of them will be big. And it'll just look really fun. And whenever we look at this next, we'll actually be able to see all of those little circles everywhere. So you can kind of see over here how it's starting to do some sort of a reaction. It will do that, but it'll do it in the shape of them. That's actually how I got these little circles on this owl, like on the outside, was just by doing what I just did there. And I think it's gonna look really cool. Okay, so I've got that one. And I'm gonna repeat this process over here with this one. Oh, I forgot to paint their little face. My dear word. Can't have a Pokemon without a face. So let's go ahead and just do that real quick. Because that would have been a little silly. There we go. And then, like I said, we can go through with a second coat, especially since there's some of those kind of smeared bits, and I think that'll be fine. So let's do the same thing with this one. And what we're gonna do here is first we're gonna start with coloring the actual Vaporeon itself. So I'll go ahead and start over here on the tail. Something a little like that. And something I'll probably end up doing, because, you know, this is not watercolor paper, these are cardstock, and as you can see, it is warping a little bit, is I can always smash them under a book for like a day or two afterwards. That way we can kind of try to flatten it a little bit. Ooh, that was a lot of pigment there. I don't know about that. I don't like that. Let's slurp some of that up. When in doubt, paper towel it out. It just looked really, really dark. And while some dark is good, we don't want it to like go crazy. And the other thing that we can do is if it ends up like making some of these lines disappear, we can re-go over it, because this is not acrylic, so it shouldn't bother those pins. And that might be a good thing to go back and do afterwards, just to kind of clean up our images. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the water brush that we did before. So first I'm just going to add some water to these bubbles. them lighten up a little bit for some fun. And then I'm going to go through and do little circles. Little circle. Then what we can do is we'll come back later and we'll see what happened to those and what those circles started turning into. Because like I said, it will actually play with the pigment color and it will start doing really cool stuff. In fact, on these other ones that also have water, we can also play with some of the water around this, and maybe we can follow the water striations. Just for a bit of added fun and dramatic, you know, watery stuff. There we go. And then I still need to do the sky on this one too. So do I want to do him itself or should I do the sky? I think I'll do the sky. I think that's a good idea. So let's go ahead and we'll get some of this Cerulean. And let's just go ahead and give that sky some pretty blue. And like a bright sunny day kind of blue. Yeah, that looks nice. We've got this one too, and we also need to go back and rethink some of the colors in the rocks just to give it something a little extra. So I'm just gonna do the water striations real fast. Fun. And this one's also got some water in it. Okay, so we will come back in a bit and we'll check on these and see what happened. All right, and I'm back. So now you can see that there's been little bubbles on here from whenever I did my little watermark making. So it just kind of gives it like more of a, I don't know, a flowy water style. I really like that. Over here I didn't get as many clear circles because some of the circles it looks like met, but it does look like there's water swishing around. So I think what I was trying to do was met. So we're gonna go ahead and continue coloring the Vaporeons. And once again, I am using Macron Green. So I'm just getting my palette wet here. Okay. And I'm gonna do the cute little, woo, that was a lot. See, that's the one thing I notice with these brushes is sometimes they really, really hold that water in, which is, I'm assuming, a good thing. It just makes it a little hard sometimes. There we go, because I don't want a big old heaping water mess. I'm stealing some of the water from the face since it did that. And the tail. So it makes a little something, something like that. Okay, I've got this one again. Right, that. And like I said, if it ends up taking away some of that pen mark, I'll just go back over it later. Because we can always draw back on top of these. It'll be okay. Go. These little bitty areas right here. Okay. Move to this next one here. I'm sorry if I'm not talking very much with watercolors. Sometimes you just gotta pay attention because you need to make sure that that water is not gonna go where you don't want it to go and reactivate that pigment. See, like I didn't want it to go in the bush. What I was thinking is maybe I can go over it with some colored pencil too and add some shading in there. Go like that. And then we've got this sweet little boo here. go. Needed more water on that, it was a bit dry. Go. Pretty cute. Okay. So while we're waiting on those parts to dry, let's go ahead and think about these stones here. So we already had that kind of khaki color on them. So let's go ahead and add some either wood or cedar. I'm feeling the wood. I feel like wood would look good with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some of that mixed up. This color right here. I don't want it to be too opaque. I'd like it to be really translucent. Okay. So traditionally, if we think about grass and overhang, I think the darkest bits are going to be up here at the top. Ooh. So I'm just gonna go into it like that. I believe I got way too much water there, but we'll see. Maybe I can steal some of it back. Oop. Some of that brown on the tail. It's not where I wanted that to go. And we've got this rock here. That looks okay. And then maybe we can use a Posca and do some mark making in the water. Let's see, so we need a white Posca. Where are these white? Shake her up a bit. And we can just do a bit of white in the water here, just to kind of give that real essence of flowing, like that. That looks pretty good. Also, I want to think about the collar, but we might wait until that dries a bit because I don't want that brown to accidentally go on the collar. So let's go ahead and take a look at a different one. Let's look at this one. Give it some of that brown too. Something nice and subtle like that, and then we can use our mark making tool here. The Posca and just add some more wavy bits in there. It just kind of gives a little something more besides just that black. And we want to make sure we do it against the edge too, because there's going to be like little splashes there. Okay. And then let's do this one next. That. A little bit more pigment to that one. There we go. All right, and then I think we'll also use that wood brown on these tree trunks too. Because that'll look really nice with those, and it's the color of wood, so why wouldn't we? Oops, put that back in focus there. So just because I'm not sure if I was in focus with that one, this is what it looks like now. Here we go. And then let me move the camera over a little bit where I seem to be wanting to do this hat. There we go. Do a bit of brown. Give it that nice rich color. Just like that. And then we've got 2 more trees it looks like, so let's go ahead and do those 2. I'm still thinking about what I want in the color of this one's backgrounds, these trees. I haven't quite decided yet. But I think that looks okay for right now. So we can go ahead and set that to the side. So this one's drier now, so we can go ahead and put the sky on this one. I wanted to do a really dark purple because we did ultraviolet for the background, so I was thinking, ooh, or do we want to do kind of a crazy one? We could almost do wine. Wine would be fun. Or raisin. Raisin could be a fun one. Kind of give it a different mood instead of purple on purple. I'm gonna go with raisin. I think raisin sounds fun. Why not? So this is our world. We can do what we want. We'll just pretend we're California raisins and go for it. All right, let's do it. And we are gonna have stars and stuff. It's not just gonna look like this. This makes it kind of dramatic looking, and we could even probably add some purple maybe towards the top and just kind of let it be mixy. That could be fun. Maybe give it kind of a galaxy look. That would be fun. We need some more water. Wrong color. There we go. And while this is still wet, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun here. And we're gonna put in some, let's do a little bit of crocus in there. And just let it kind of get all mixy. It's pretty. It just gives it a little bit of drama, I think. We like ourselves a bit of drama, don't we? Okay. So then let's take a look at these collars. So we've got collars. I'm saving the colored pencil as the very last thing I do because I know that I still need to reline some of these. So, taking my time with it here. So for the collar, let's do, maybe a very, very, very light color here. Let's see. You know what I just realized I did? I used macaron green instead of blue on some of these. Oops. We'll fix that with a colored pencil. Let's do a very, very light wash of a brown. We're gonna get a lot of water in there so we can get it super light. We don't want it to be a big old mess of that color. I just want a little bit in the folds. Just to give it a little something something. A little something like that. I think that'll look good. And we'll do it to each of these, just a little hint color. Like that. Okay. And I've got this one again. What you see me doing with my finger there is some of the water was escaping, so I was trying to stop it so it wouldn't go into the bluish green color. Because I don't want that color there. Okay. And then we've got this one. That. And I've got this one's collar, and I'll just have to be really careful up here. Alrighty. So now I'm gonna bring this back over, and I think I'm gonna add some white mark making into these just because this didn't, it's cool looking, but it's not quite as dramatic as I was thinking. So we're just gonna help it. With some white circles. We're gonna put a couple in front too, just because that'll look a little bit more natural. Like we're underwater. There we go. Oops, I got out of focus again, sorry. I think that looks pretty cool. And you can do the same thing over here. Just give it some fun. This way there's no question that this is underwater. So I don't want it to look too flat. And I kind of like that these are not perfect circles. I don't know. It kind of brings some more fun into it. There we go. I think that looks like fun. All right. So now it looks like we really need to just play with this one a little bit more. So let's go ahead and pick a color for this background. And I would say because of the flowers, I'm probably gonna do more of a cherry color. Ooh, we could even do something kind of fun. What about like a pink? Pink might be just interesting. Why not create a mood with it? So let's go ahead and try that. And I'm gonna use Skin Pink, is what the color is called. So it's just kind of a very cherry salmony pink. Maybe it's like dusk or something. I like that. I think that's gonna look nice. I'm gonna do the whole area. I am gonna put some leaves on these trees, but I just want it to be where if there is some stuff peeking through, that it'll look okay. Oh no, we've got some bleeding happening. It's not good. Let's use a paper towel. See if we can wipe some of that away. Oh no. There we go. Try again in here. Pink, I say, not blue. It was weird because that should have been dry. But of course I am not using my Paul Rubens, so it honestly could just be the, you know, it could just be the paint. Wow, and then that one just wanted to go everywhere. Goodness. goodness. You figure something out? I heard the light bulb moment for you. Mason is playing a created game on Fortnite, because on Fortnite it's kind of like Roblox, where you can have creator-made games instead of ones made by Epic, which is the company that runs Fortnite. And he's playing a game that's very similar to Call of Duty Zombies. It's like a cross between Save the World and Call of Duty Zombies, really. And he just had an aha moment while playing it, I guess. There we go. It's very wet. Okay. So, oh, we didn't make on this water. This is the only one that we missed. So let's get this one too real quick. Especially since it's in the water, we want it to be able to see that. There we go. That's better. Now let's go back over this with our pen and just kind of fix some of our lines that have gone awry. I think that'll help quite a bit. And we're just going to do it where it needs it most. Okay. Which is definitely on the Vaporeon itself. Do that, and we need a red for the tongue. There we go. There's just like a lot of built up pigment right there, which I wasn't really expecting, because like I say, whenever I use my Paul Rubens, this does not happen. Like usually it just kind of dries and I don't have any problems with my pen. So definitely something to think about. See, that's looking much better already. It's like cleaning it up a bit. Much better. Okay. And then let's go ahead and get this line back in action then. This is one of the lines where I was looking at it going, oh no, because my spikes weren't sharp anymore. Yes, much better. Some stars here. So I like adding two types of shape. I like adding these like little diamonds, just because when I was a kid I used to do them like that. And even if they look a little frumpy, I like them. They're very nostalgic. And then instead of doing paint splatter stars, I'm just gonna randomly prickle them around, because I don't want to get paint splatter all over my Vaporeon. There we go, I think that looks nice. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this one back. That pink looks like it's dried a little bit now, so I'm just going to pop some red right here. And I need that pink to dry up some more because I'm not done with the background. We still need to add some leaves up there. Okay, so let's go to our next one. We're gonna reline this, but we also have to be careful because we got those white circles there. And that might actually help us, because we might actually keep those lines kind of vague that are inside the circles to make it look like we're seeing through the bubble. So that could be a fun optical illusion. So like, see what I did there? That's a good example because now that looks like it's blurry there, but it works because that bubble's there. There's another bubble that we can work with, like that. Okay. And then we've got the back. Oh, there's a bubble. It's a really cool effect. Like that. And we've got this one. And then we need the actual Vaporeon itself. Oh, on the one that I just outlined, I forgot to finish the mouth. Where'd it go? I need to put a little bit of red here. There we go. Fix the mouth. Okay. all but vanished there, so I'm glad we got those back on. Then what we could do here is something similar. So above the water, let's make those dark. And below the water, it'll be lighter like that. That way it'll be more in the water. There we go. Like that. And this is the next one we can fix. So once again, we're going to do everywhere except for where there's bubbles. And we're just going to leave that without the bold around it, and it'll make it look like it's kind of warped. Let's see. Almost done with this one. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I've got 2 more to fix the outline on, and then really all we need to do is, oops, I forgot the red on that one's mouth again. Then really all we need to do is just add some more blue to these to make them more blue than green, and that'll be it. Because these are pretty close to being done. So I'm going to do the grass first. Or everything that least has an outline that is not the Vaporeon. There we go. And then the actual body of it. Oops, 1 second. I have a drawer under me that wants to collapse. Let me just put it on the floor. There we go. Sorry about that. My desk is very old and sometimes it has a drawer that I think is packed a little bit too heavily, probably, and it was trying to escape. Good. All right, and then we've got just this one more to do, and then all we need to do is fix these blues and we're good to go. So I think on this one I'm gonna leave these trees without leaves. I kind of like it. I think it looks good. So it's gonna be fine. I think really the only thing that I need to fix here is just the Vaporeon. The rest of the outlines seem to have stayed for some reason. So we're just gonna worry about our Vaporeon here. So we're getting pretty close here. Right, awesome. So then, just the last thing that we need to do is just take some colored pencil to these. Oops, I forgot an arm. And then that's it. We just double check everything and it should be good to go. So let's go ahead and find a nice blue colored pencil. I want it to be kind of a lighter blue. So let's see what color this actually is. Because sometimes you think you have one color and you don't. So let's see. That's pretty dark. I don't want that blue. Let's see. Or, even better, we could take one of these. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna take, this is just a Crayola Super Tip, light blue. And we're just gonna give a little bit of shading in here to try to bring some of that blue back. That's an issue. It went too dark on us. So now, instead of having a cute Vaporeon, we have an alien. All right, well, let's lighten it up with an actual pencil when it dries then. So that was our test and it didn't work. So let's try blue. What color are you? That's more the color I was thinking. Yep, I should have went with this in the first place. That's okay. Sometimes gotta learn the hard way. So I'm just adding little bits of blue in there so that it turns our friend more of a blue color instead of this green that I accidentally used. Because on my thing, mint green and macaron blue are right next to each other. So let's see here. There we go. Unfortunately, that's probably going to be as light as I'm going to get that. But it's still pretty cute. So I'm not too mad about it. Okay, so with that, this one is done. And I'm just going to give a little in my initials at the bottom. Color in the little heart. We're just going to leave that one as it is. So that one is done. We're going to take a look at this one and we're going to give it some more blue as well. And try to hide some of our mistakes in there. There we go. That looks pretty good. So once again, we're just going to sign it. And that one is now done. Add a bit of blue in here. Okay, just like that. And we're going to sign it. And we've got this one. And this one, I don't think we need to really add very much color to it because this is the correct color that we were going for. So I'm not going to add any color to that one. I'm just going to sign it. This one was also the correct color, so I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to sign it. And then lastly was this one. This one does need the blue for sure, especially on the tail, because there's some weird color variations happening because some of the brown accidentally touched that. There we go. So that is now fixed and we can sign it. So I'm going to zoom out and then I'm going to go ahead and get all of them so we can take a look here and do one last look-see and make sure we're not missing anything. But otherwise, I think we did pretty good. And here they all are. Yeah. I think that looks great. So if you made it this far with me, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye!